Hello guys. Thank you so much for starting watching this video and welcome in this case to the unit 3 of your advanced level. All right. If you still haven't in this case finished the quiz that I posted last Friday, please, I need you to complete it. So in this case, I can take a look and see what are the most things that I have to rehearsal with you. All right, so let's start out by this part. Over here you have, which is the material of the unit 3. So this week we are working with the unit 3 and some other things that we have. So over here, these are the objectives. By the end of this week, you will be able to learn, in this case, to describe and give information about different places. All right, so when somebody asks you, state preferences, present constructing information, categorize and evaluate issues. And from the main teaching inputs, here we are going to check the vocabulary of the unit 3 and the grammar. This is part of the things that we are going to do today. In the grammar, we have the defining and non-defining relative clauses. So maybe you will say, what exactly is that? So this is something really easy that I will be explaining you in a couple of minutes. So also the orders of modifiers, like the usage of though, although, even though, despite of, some other of those parts, okay? And in this case, which is the connecting with constructing ideas, okay? This is something really easy too about the lesson B. In the homework, so straight up here we have, I need you to learn the vocabulary of the unit 3. Complete the exercises that I will be attaching today on Google Classroom and the workbooks of unit 3. You already have the workbook completed, so you just have to start filling up those units. And as always, in this level, we are going to be watching a video about TED. It is TEDx. That is a company who have different people. Some of them are famous, where they are giving a speech. So this week's speech is regarding this. It says how to get your brain to focus. Something very, very important that we need to do. All right, to focus in one thing. So I need that you watch the video, okay, and write on your notebook, in this case, your personal opinion. It is something really important. All right, so over here, this is the video, and we have the song of the week. So that's the first thing, as always. The name is Stole the Show by Kygo. It is a really good song, so I hope you like it. As always, there are the PDF about the vocabulary and grammar, workbooks, and your complete student book. I have 3 videos that I just wanted to show you, and I attached it over here. First one is English speaking practice. How you can improve, in this case, your English by speaking, right, or in a fluency shouting. Also, a TV show, and maybe you remember this about the TV series called Friends, that it was pretty famous. So watch it up. It's just 5 minutes. And a business English conversation. Here is where we're going to be starting entry into the business part. That is something very important, because maybe when you finish this English immersion program, you would like to get a job. So how exactly, maybe you are wondering, what are the different conversations in English that the people have in the company? Maybe when they are in an interview, or pretty much when they are just working, okay? So over there, you have a normal conversation. Don't forget to watch it. As always, here we have the audios for the listening, so you can complete it, all right, from the workbook. And over here, you have 3 videos about explanations of the grammar. This is in case that you still have questions or doubts about the explanation that I will be giving you today. Okay, so let's start up. So first thing we have to start with is with the vocabulary. So this is the name of the unit 3, okay? Exploring new cities. So popular destination. As you know, you're going to be learning how to talk about or different places. Okay, it does not matter if you haven't, or probably if you have been there, that you can describe and tell to the person it is like this, like this. So let's start by this part. Features of cities. When they relate about features of city, is like the different things that a city has. All right. So the climate, you know, the climate, which is the weather, and cost of living, how much, if it's expensive. If you go to the East Coast, for example, in Bávaro, La Romana, all those places, you know that the cost of living is very, very high. All right. For example, here in La Vega is not that all, right? It depends on which side of the city you will be moving. The crime rate, something very important, right? If there are a lot of crimes, or we could say, right, the crime is so high. The cuisine, of course, the food, we cannot forget about it. How good is it, right? So you can explain that. The green spaces, when they relate to green spaces, is like about the park, the different parks they have. And if they have, for example, gardens where you can go and relax maybe with your family, hotels, job market, you know, the job market, which is first the industries that city has, right? Landmarks. Landmarks, this is a vocabulary it is used a lot in, for example, in the map or Google Map. Also, some of us, when you are driving, okay, there are different landmarks that you take in order to know where you can go. All right, so you don't lose yourself. Over here, the landmarks is like a point of reference that you take in order to know where are you going to. Okay. For example, if we are going, let's say, to Santiago, okay, you are going to be, if you don't know how to get there, in the first time, you take like some landmarks, right? For example, the bridge that goes, in this case, to related to Mocha and divides all of those parts, right? So those are landmarks that you can take, or any kind of place that is famous, you take them by landmark, as landmark. Neighborhoods, the neighborhoods, you know, what is the people who lives or the place as we call where you are. The nightlife, how is the nightlife, right? What are the different places you can visit at night? Shopping, the shopping, you know, like the clothing stores, and the transportation system. So here in La Vega, the transportation system is, if it's public, it's a little bad, right? But there are lots of private transportation, like Uchombesa, Quinto Patio, all right, Caribe Tours, where you can, in this case, transport yourself. So here we have some nouns and adjectives. These are compound terms for the word towns. Okay, what are the different towns that exist? The first one is the border town. You know, the border town is those ones who makes, like we'd say, that they are together with other country. For example, here in Dominican Republic, you know that we live Santo Domingo and Haiti, right? So the border town is Dajabon, we could say, because it's bordering with the other country. In the United States, the same thing happens, right, with Canada on the top, right? So they make border, and with Mexico, right, down below. Coastal town, right? The coastal people who lives in the coast, like for example in Puerto Plata, right? All of the areas that are near the sea, okay? Those are coastal towns. We have college town, where there's where they are, for example, the university, colleges, schools, and all that. Industrial town, right? So the industrial with this industry, of course. Mountain town, the mountain town, you know, Jarabacoa is a mountain town. Port town, where is the ports. There are different ports here in this country, right? The same Puerto Plata, there is a port. If you go to Italy, for example, Venice, there are lots of ports. For that reason, they are called like that. Resort town, of course, you go to the east or Samaná, those places that are resort towns. Here we have the different part with rural town and suburban town, right? So the rural, it is in this case, for example, we are here in La Vega, right? There, the countrysides, those are rural towns. Now, the suburban is the opposite. For example, Santo Domingo, la capital, we say, right? So those where are the city, right? You can find everything over there. So for that reason, they are called suburban town. And finally, the tourist towns, right? So where there are lots of touristic places. We go again to La Marrana City, La Romana, right? Those places that also I was mentioning before, Samaná, Nagua, there are those tourist towns. So the other vocabulary that is about lesson B here, I'm going to be leaving for the next video, so I don't get you a little bit confused. But here we have some useful expressions that are really good when you are agreeing with an opinion of another person, right? You can say, I think so too. Okay, so when you think the same as another, I think that you're right, or I am with you, or that's true. But in the opposite way, when you disagree with another opinion, right? You can say, I know what you mean, but, and in that case you give your opinion, all right? After but. I am not sure. I agree. All right. So, well, the intonation you have to give is I'm not sure I agree. It's like that you are disagreeing. Also, you can say maybe, but don't you think? So this one, we use it when you want to give a soft disagreement with another person, right? So that you don't want to make the other person feel bad because of that. So you can say, maybe, but don't you think that would be better like this? And the last one, you can say, really? It's like that you are kind of disagreeing with that part because you don't believe what that person is saying. All right? So that was the lesson A vocabulary. Remember, the additional vocabulary will be for the next video. And here we are with this part. Okay? So with the popular destinations, some popular destination, guys, that you need to visit. First one is Barcelona, Beijing, right? Seoul, and Sydney. So in the call that we're having, guys, we're going to be talking a little bit about this and hearing your different opinions about which one is your favorite place to visit. Okay, so let's move on. Here we have the listening. As you know, you have to just play the audios that are in the material over here. So they are identified already by, for example, 3A. This means lesson A. You just have to play the corresponding one. The next part, let's see. Okay, so here is the part of the grammar. Today you're going to learn a little bit about the defining and non-defining relative clauses. It's something we could say pretty easy, but maybe you can get confused with identifying which one of them is it, all right? So like in making a difference between them. So I'm going to open the next part of the card here, which is, okay, even more, it's even better. Oh my gosh, how can I remove this? All right, now yeah. Okay, so as you can see here, they say that word that, as you see, that can be used for people or things, okay, in the defining relative clauses. Okay, so these are some things that information, like extra information that we give to a sentence, okay, to identify it or to define it even better. But there are some others that, like they say, they are non-defining. But with this one, with the defining relative, we have to use the word that can be used. However, it cannot be used as a replacement. So when you want to replace where or when with the meaning in which, at which, or during which, okay, so in those cases you don't use that. But let's see the examples that they have over here. The first one is when you're giving a sentence like many of the people that live in Paris leave the city in August to vacation in other places. So I am, in this case, defining, all right, which is with this phrase, that live in Paris. I am saying that the people who live. So I am, in this case, substituting the word who, okay, by that. So that is the only usage that they give to that. Many of the people that live in Paris leave the city in August. So if you don't know which of them or what exactly I am talking about, so you have to identify is the people who, all right, who live or that lives in Paris. That is the usage of that. A statue of dogs that can be found in Boston is a popular tourist attraction for children. So I am identifying, right, or defining with that can be found in Boston. Pamplona is that city in Spain. Okay, so in these cases, we have to use, all right, that's what they say, that the word that cannot be used for a replacement of where or when. Okay, so if in a sentence you have to use those WH questions, where or when, don't substitute them with that, okay, with the word that. You have to use them. So they don't have like that kind of substitution. Like Pamplona is that city in Spain where the bulls run through the street during a summer festival. Or summer is the season when New York is crowded with tourists from all over the world. Okay, so as you see, I am not using here we could say this kind of pronouns of that. Now, in the non-defining, that cannot be used, okay, with this non-defining relative clause. In this case, here you have to specify with who, which, or where, okay? Those are used instead of that. For example, let's see the sentences. Cairo, which has fascinated Europeans for ages, all right, draws countless tourists each year. So here in this sentence, in the non-defining relative clauses, it's not like necessary to use the phrase exactly where we have the WH question. Like these black words is optional. That's what I mean, okay? Because if you already know that I am talking about Cairo, okay, you don't have, this is like extra information that you give in the non-defining, like Cairo, which has fascinated Europeans for years, or our tour guide. If you know that I'm talking about my tour guide, okay, it's not necessary to say this part, but to give a better emphasis to the sentence, right? It's good that you can say it. It's an extra information, like our tour guide who knew a great deal about souvenirs in Otavalo, all right, help us buy some beautiful presents for our friends. Okay, so these are some long sentences, okay? But in order for you to get a better example with these non-defining relative clauses, I'm going to, you can say, for example, with which. If I say the monument, okay, the monument of Santiago, which is one of the best attraction of the city, okay, receives lots of people every weekend. So that is the example. What is the extra information? Which, okay, which is the most famous, right, of this place of the city. So that is not necessary. I can only say Santiago, right, the monument of Santiago receives lots of people during the weekend. And simple as that. So for that reason, this is the non-defining relative clauses, because you are not, it is not necessary to give a definition of the place, okay, because you already supposed to know it. But in difference with the defining relative clauses, okay, in that case, that information is necessary to say it, okay. For example, with the use of that, if I say many of the people, so here I am not saying anything. People of where? So I have to identify it or define it with the word that live in Paris. Okay, so that is the only thing regarding this part of the grammar. It's very, very easy. So you only have to identify which of them is the defining and the non-defining. Okay. So for the other part of the grammar here, we have the order of modifiers that we're going to see for the next part of the video. If you still have problem with the explanation that I was giving you right now, okay, so remember that there is a very interesting video over here with the defining and not defining that you can also, I invite you to watch it. If you understood the explanation, go however to the video, okay, because in that case you have a clearer idea. All right, so that was this part. Let me see if I have. Okay, so for a better, in this case, clarification, there is an exercise here that you can complete. All right, in the same grammar part. So you have to underline the relative clauses in the sentences and add commas where necessary. Okay, so you have to write D for the defining and ND for a non-defining relative clause. As you can see, the non-defining relative clauses, the phrase that we are using, they are divided by 2 commas, okay? And where the WH question starts, that is here, in which. So I say Bangkok, comma, which is the capital of Thailand. So, comma again, right? So you have to identify it, input the comma. So this is an exercise so you can make the difference between the two of them. So you just have to do it over there. And there is also join the sentences using here non-defining relative clauses. Then compare your answers. So you just have to join it, the two sentences. As you see, Gandhi designed Barcelona's park well. And you can see famous sculptures there. How you do? So you have to create a sentence to join it, those two sentences in one, using the non-defining. Remember, where we use here these kind of phrases. All right, so guys, that was everything for today. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. If there is any kind of in questions that you might have for me, remember, please, guys, text me on my WhatsApp and I'll be there to help you out. Okay, if I have to make a call to explain you something, you just have to tell me and I'll be there for you. Don't forget to do this part of the vocabularies. These are the exercises and the listenings as well. So in this case, see you in the call that we're going to be doing. Okay, I will let you know in the group as soon as we're going to be developing the speaking skills. So nice to see you guys, and I hope you are well. See you the next time.